The Phoenix Suns escaped the tanking Dallas Mavericks on Wednesday night and got some more clarity on the postseason in the process. We're set to talk about all of that after this. What's happening, y'all? Welcome into PHNX Suns postgame presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app and use code PHNX365 when you sign up and find out why winning is everything at Bet365. I'm Gil. That's Espo. That's Eric. We got the Freckle Mama out there making us look good, at least trying to make us look good. I don't know. I don't feel
you guys make yourselves look good. I look like Grimace when I look myself in this shirt, but
Grimace never looked that good, you know? The Suns did not look that.
This is exactly where I thought we would start.
The Suns didn't look that good tonight. But Eric, how you feeling, man?
I'm feeling pretty good. They got a win. Actually, I'm not feeling pretty good, but they did get a win.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They did clinch the 7th seed. It's a lot better to win than it is to lose. But shout out to everybody hanging out with us here on a Wednesday night. We got Boom, positive and cheerful as always. Matthew, Euphoria, Deborah, everybody in the chat hanging out with us. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, because at least they didn't lose. Yeah.
I won't say that they tried, because the Mavericks were definitely trying to lose this game. As you saw, their star rookie did not play down the stretch, but the Suns escape with a 112-107 win. Lost a lot of guys in the process, so there was some losing along the way. Didn't see Jalen Green or Jordan Goodwin in the second half. That being said, this kind of feels like the concerning trend of finding ways to win, but us being very disappointed with how it happens.
Yeah. Ayrton, do you have it ready? I'm going to do this like the Suns tonight. You can take the Mavericks. You can put them in the drawer. You can put the toe tag on.
And toe tag.
Yeah, I guess you can slam the drawer shut because the Morg took another victim. That's how I felt tonight.
Were they really a victim? I think they're gonna regenerate after this. It wasn't.
They were asking to be put in the drawer.
Please.
Like, hey, we want to go in there in the first half. We don't want to have to actually try to win this game. They had to take Cooper Flagg out in the final 4 minutes to accomplish it.
It was funny because when he went out with 4 minutes, is he not gonna come back in? This team is trying to do this Rookie of the Year campaign for him. They're like, nah, we're good. We're gonna roll with John Pulikitis in this one to close the game out.
What?
John Pulikitis on this one.
I hate when I pull my Kitis. Isn't that why Jordan Goodwin had to leave the game?
If you guys had John Pulikitis with team high scorer, call the number, but also congrats on your winnings.
Congrats on making a lot of money.
Yeah, a lot of money. I don't even think they make that available for two-way players. Thanks, Jonte. That being said, Espo, how ugly was this?
Oh, we got the full Buscemi tonight. The eyes are crossed. Nobody knows what to do. It was a full Buscemi, but they got the win, and an ugly win is better than a pretty loss.
An ugly win. Hey, listen, if Steven was here, he'd be telling us that there's no such thing as an ugly win. But if there was one, it would be tonight. And Eric, you've talked a lot about this. You spoke your mind about what you're thinking about this team and where they are right now and what they're doing and what they aren't doing. Your initial thoughts and takeaways from this game.
I would like to say that I fully acknowledge that the Suns were depleted tonight. Obviously, you didn't have Mark, you didn't have Grayson, you didn't have Haywood Highsmith going into the night. Then you lose Jordan, then you lose Jalen on the second night of a back-to-back, coming off a brutal loss to a very physical team. And I get all of that. And there was a lot of great stuff about tonight. Booker and Brooks and Maluach. There's actually a pretty long list of encouraging things from tonight's game. The only thing is, what wasn't encouraging was the entire team's play. I mean, going 5 minutes scoreless and allowing a 15-0 run to anybody in this point of the season, let alone the Dallas Mavericks, who are actively trying to lose. And yeah, we've seen teams actively try to lose to only beat them by 5 points and to actually get outscored in the fourth quarter. I want to say it's a somewhat embarrassing, if not outright embarrassing, stretch of basketball for the Phoenix Suns as of late. Now, all of this can be washed away if by the time we get to the play-in, the Suns win in a resounding round 1 victory against the Trailblazers or the Clippers, and they go into the playoffs and make a little noise, win a couple games, or hell, win a series. Then nobody's going to care about what happened in the third to last game of the season when half the roster was injured. I get it, but that's not where we're at right now. Where we are right now is watching a Phoenix Suns team that consistently gets in their own way. They did it last night. They did it tonight against 2 completely different caliber of opponents. And that's unacceptable when you go into a situation where 1 or 2 losses in a row and boom, you're no longer playing basketball this season, right? And both of these games were at home, which is where that play-in tournament is going to be. I would say this is unacceptable, except for they won, so it's somewhat acceptable, but I would say it's a little embarrassing that you struggled to win tonight's game.
Concern level based on this embarrassment, because this is game 80 of 82. There are a maximum of 4 games left for this iteration of the Suns team. Get a maximum of 2 games left at the Morg next week, as Eric kind of alluded to. But there hasn't really been much to latch on to as far as what this team is going to do moving forward when the stakes get higher.
Yeah. I mean, but there were tonight was a weird game.
Yes.
Like you look at the numbers, you shoot 46% from the field, 40% from deep. You hit 82% of your free throws. You win the rebounding battle. You win the turnover battle. You won points off of turnovers. You won the block battle. And you're like, how the hell was this close?
Yeah.
Devin and Dillon have good games, and you're like, or even Royce showed up and found himself, and you're like, how was this a close game? It doesn't make sense. So there's little things that encourage me, but the overall picture, you go, I'm not sure this team's ready for what they're about to face over the next few weeks.
I think it's more of a feeling rather than a result, because they led for 80% of this game. It's objectively good, right? And they had to clear out the bench. I thought we got great minutes from some of the reserves. Like you mentioned, Royce, I think Ryan Dunn played a hell of a game tonight. If it wasn't for another person, I would have been pushing it for Blue Collar Boy, even though he didn't score. We saw 14 minutes of Rasheer Fleming. Hey, these are guys that we've been begging to see. And obviously it wasn't a fully healthy insert into the rotation for them, but they did play. And the Suns, except for a little run there, I feel like in the third quarter, we're never like, oh my God, they might lose this game, right? And then the Mavs led for a little bit and the Suns, took that lead back. It's just when you watch them play, Gil, it just feels like they're having trouble hitting that second gear. And the playoffs, the play-in can be decided by who can hit that second gear at the right time. And I know that at the end of the day, this is a team that we're all going to appreciate when it's all said and done, because they've given us 44 wins now on a season where they were supposed to get half of that, if that. And that's great. But right now is right now. And right now, this is a team that clinched a playoff spot. Or a play-in spot. This is a team that earned expectations, and they have not played up to that for an extended stretch. This is not just a one-off game tonight.
Yeah, I'm curious about that too, because we talked about expectations and how they slide, and based on what you've seen, and we've held them to such a high regard based on what we saw in that December to January stretch where they looked like they could beat anybody. Now, there were times where they could let people hang with them, as we saw tonight. And you mentioned the third quarter run the Mavs went on. And that was right after the Suns built an 18-point lead. And Eric, you commented during the watch along, oh, this is almost a 20-point game. And immediately after that, it was like a 16-0 run, I think, that the Mavericks went on. And there are other things to talk about. We mentioned kind of being encouraged by this game. And I think the big one who we should probably start with was it was the first career start for Khaman Maluach. I know we'll talk a little more about that, but thinking about him and thinking about getting other guys into the rotation, you saw Colin Gillespie maybe emerge from that slump. You also talked about Royce. When you talk about this, and I guess maybe a percentage of how you're feeling, is it 80% discouraged, maybe 20% encouraged? Was there any positives that you can take from this based on what we saw in this game and what the game kind of turned into?
Yeah, I mean, the positive for me is Dillon Brooks appears to have found himself. It took 5 games after the injury, but 28 points, 11 of 22, so 50% from the field, but he was 4 or 5 from deep, had 5 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal. Like, he did a little of everything tonight where we had seen him struggle mightily. And so all of a sudden you go, okay, well, Dillon may have found himself. That's a win. Devin did Devin Booker things tonight, and you go, okay, those 2 things are extremely encouraging. But is it enough? Can they Again, now the question is, can they be healthy going into the play-in as well? We don't even know what the two injuries are for Jalen and Jordan. So it's one step forward, two injuries back, it feels like this season.
We don't know the severity. Jalen was a right knee. He ended up being questionable to return. Obviously, he did not return. And then you had Jordan Goodwin, I believe, was a left ankle sprain. Yeah, so right knee for Jalen Green, left ankle for Jordan Goodwin, who is out. Suns probably, I would say, rest them for the rest of the regular season. I wouldn't be surprised by it. An encouraging factor for me, besides Book, who I know we'll talk about in a second, he did a really good job on Cooper Flagg. Now, Coop had almost a triple-double, 11 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, and he had some very good plays, but overall he shot 4 of 18 from the field, 0 of 4 from deep. And look, yeah, maybe you can just chalk that up as a bad shooting night, but Ryan Dunn put clamps on Cooper Flagg. I thought your perimeter defense overall tonight was pretty staunch against a guy in Cooper who's averaging about 40 points over the last couple of games, like we talked about in pregame. So to be able to go out there with a clear objective and mission, which is we are not going to let Cooper Flagg beat us tonight. Now, it's unfortunate that Marvin Bagley scored 20 and Max Christie scored 18 and John Polakaitis scored 23. That all sucks, for sure. But the game plan was, let everybody else try to beat us because we don't think they can. Stop the guy who can beat us, and that's Cooper Flagg. And when you go and take these games into bigger picture, big game scenarios, what's the worry with the Clippers team? They have a Kawhi Leonard. You look at the Trailblazers, all-star, Denny Avdia, right? Like, if your defensive game plan against a star can end up taking them out of the rhythm, and that wins you the game, at least you won the game that way. It's not, okay, Cooper Flagg went out there and dropped 50 on our head and took us out. It was Cooper Flagg had 11 points. And I know he didn't close the game for probably a variety of reasons, but I didn't think that he was heavily impacting this game when he was on the court in the first place.
Yeah, I was going to say, when I talk about what's encouraging for me, it would kind of be the fact that we saw the guys play and they kind of proved themselves. We saw Ryan Dunn come back in and make some moves and make some moments, and you mentioned he would get some more recognition if it weren't from other guys stepping up. It was exciting to see different lineups and things happen, and obviously it was marred a little bit by the injury. Jalen Green limited to 4 minutes, Jordan Goodwin 13 minutes, but in those 13 minutes, he did what Steven talked about on Sunday, knocked down 3 of his 4 3-pointers, and that kind of justifies that decision for him to be in the starting lineup because that's going to be the swing skill for him in that starting lineup. And again, just a strange one against a Mavericks team that, again, not very focused on the winning aspect of things. They made you sweat more, but these are guys who are playing for their NBA futures and trying to scratch and claw, but that's where the discouragement comes in again because that is supposed to be your MO. Doesn't matter if it's the second end of a back-to-back. Doesn't matter what you have or have not clinched as far as it goes this season. It's just something that oomph is a little bit because we talk so much. It just felt like a sleepwalking game, and they slept walk to a win, and that's not what you want to see in Game 80.
So Calvin has a $5 super chat and says, why can't we rejoice that we won instead of nitpicking why we should have lost? And I understand that sentiment. And I feel very conflicted because I think we've been very positive about this team overall. And again, 44 wins on the season is great. They finally did pick up a win, which they haven't gotten a lot of recently. But I just think it's hard to go out there and rip our shirts off and celebrate beating the Mavericks by 5 points. And again, like, this might not matter in the end. Like, you go into the play and you go into the postseason, and if this game, ends up being flushed because you play great, that's fine. But unfortunately, this is another game where you saw signs of things that were discouraging that might cost you what you've been working for. Now, again, like we just talked about for 10 minutes, there were positive things, and maybe we can all do a better job as fans as being positive, but I don't know if it's necessarily being spoiled like some people think it is in chat. And I respect that opinion because people who are able to find the positives in everything is amazing. And I think there are a lot of positives, but there are signs. This isn't like 3 bad games, this has been almost 3 months now, and that's unfortunate timing. If they flipped the last 2.5 months with the 2.5 months before that, we'd be sitting here talking about, could this team make a run in the playoffs? But they haven't. And that's just unfortunately what we're sitting at here. And it sucks. But at the end of the day, there was a lot of good stuff about this game, including some really good individual performances.
And Eric, I'd like to point out before we go to our first break, and that's why I'll let you talk about that as well. Not to pat ourselves on the back a little bit, but we had this same sentiment on Sunday after they held off the Bulls, who are in a similar situation, and we were pointing out what we were concerned about. And guess what? all of that showed up yesterday in a game where you're very disappointed that you didn't meet the moment to beat a team who is a playoff caliber opponent. So I think the issue is not necessarily nitpicking, but just pointing out, and I guess it's the definition of nitpicking, but like kind of identifying things we will see as issues when the stakes are high, when it's very important. And that's why I feel like you understand as well. Like, listen, there's just a standard that we've held this team to because we've seen them sustain it for long enough. It's just, we're not mad, we're disappointed.
You want to know when an ugly loss or ugly win is going to be something I celebrate hard?
Playoffs
next week. If they get any following that, I will stand here and scream at the top of my lungs about how great an ugly win is when it comes to that. But right now, as you're on the precipice of the postseason, you go, these are things that could do you in. And the last thing you want is having this great season that you've gone through and the excitement that you've seen, the heart, the hustle you've seen them show, have it come crashing down because of these things in the play-in. That's like the worst case scenario.
I think we get a look inside of Boom Shakalaka's mind. I'm sure a lot of audio listeners like hear us joke about Boom and they probably don't fully get it. Boom says, quote, and this is a legit quote, "I actually enjoy the losing. Losing is more fun than Suns winning."
Can't co-sign that, my man. But
no, can't co-sign that.
There's two people in Boom's head.
I don't know if there's one person in Boom's head.
Whoa, all right. Well, you said that. I do not co-sign.
Look, Boom. We appreciate Boom is here all the time. But man, what a sentence.
Look,
Boom.
I'm just looking forward to knowing when the postseason rolls around, we're going to get a positive Boom, bringing that positive energy for this team to make it run.
A 2-week stretch where Boom was positive.
2 weeks, maybe like
Boom was like, the sky is blue. This team is playing great basketball. And now here we are. And he's like, I love losing. He's joking.
He's joking. We appreciate the jokes, Boom. And listen, there's some positivity and things that we won't be all negative, but obviously we're going to throw it to our first break, and then we'll bring some positivity back around there because there's some big news to talk about as well. Listen, we do these watch-alongs, and I got to stay energized. And the other day I was coming to work, and I said, you know what? Let me stop by Circle K and get what I need to be energized for these games. And I grabbed 2 energy drinks, and it was $5 because they had a deal for me. And that's what Circle K has for all of us. They have all the deals you need, whether it's energy drinks, whether it's the 79-cent Polar Pop and 99-cent Frosters, for Inner Circle members only. So you should make the move and sign up for Inner Circle membership. Like, they're looking out for all of us. They care about us. They got gloves and hand sanitizer for my guy.
They ran out of my location. They need a restock, but it's the sentiment that counts.
You know what? Is to keep your hands clean when you are.
Use them all.
I took like 5 and put it in my glove compartment. I'll be honest.
And also, they got snacks for us here. We ran out of the pretzel nuggets with peanut butter in there, but we still got the peach rings and the gummy sharks, which I saw Erickson enjoying earlier as well. So for those of you who want to go over to Circle K and take advantage of all they have to offer, join Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details.
The Suns have dealt with a lot of injuries this year, but it's not just a basketball thing. Sometimes you deal with a serious injury. It's you, or it's your family member, or it's a friend, or in the worst case scenario, a wrongful death. And that's why you need to have this number, 602-783-8841. That's 602-783-8841. That is a number to the husband and wife law team. And of course, Mark and Alexis Breyer lead a specialized and experienced team with multiple certified specialists in personal injury and wrongful death and hundreds of years of combined trial experience. But it's not just about the experience and how good they are at their jobs. It's about the care factor as well. It's why they make you and all their clients guarantees, like guarantees that you can cancel your fee agreement at any time for any reason, a guarantee you'll receive at least as much in your pocket as they receive for their fee, even if they have to reduce their attorney's fee to do so, and a guarantee that you can speak with one of their lawyers as often as you choose about anything you'd like to discuss. So if you've had a serious injury, call the husband and wife law team first at 602-783-8841 or visit their website at the link in our show notes and tell them that PHNX sent you.
You know what's a positive? Clarity. Breaking news, by the way. The Suns get the win tonight. The Clippers lose 128-110, which means that the Phoenix Suns are locked into the 7th seed in the Western Conference, meaning next Tuesday, there will be a play-in tournament game here at 7 p.m., opponent TBD, but we knew that it was a matter of not making it out of the play-in picture anymore. But now we know for sure that the Suns are going to be 7th, having at least 2 home games. Hopefully they just need 1 to get the job done. Feelings and thoughts about that, at least knowing what the Suns are getting themselves into when the postseason rolls around next week.
I have been taking a somewhat negative turn these last couple of weeks and talking about how this team has been disappointing. Objectively speaking, though, if you came to me and told me on Wednesday, April 8th, the Phoenix Suns would clinch the 7th seed in the Western Conference, I would be elated, right? Like this is a good thing. I know we wanted to be the 6th seed, and I know the Suns squandered their opportunity to be the 6th seed. I get it. 2 home games to make it into the postseason. You win the first one, you take on a team that you split the season series with. For a team full of misfits, a team full of outcasts, this should be celebrated. I know. Outcasts, yes. Like this is a team that has earned celebration, Espo, and I think no matter what happens these last 7 to maybe more days and how disappointing it might be, at the end of the day, like the entire trajectory of this franchise has changed because of this season and the culture that was built. And they got 44 wins and clinched a top 7 team in the toughest conference in basketball. It deserves to be celebrated.
Well, yeah, certainly. And then if you win on Tuesday, that really deserves celebration to clinch a spot in the playoffs, to be that 7th seed, to know that you're guaranteed at least 2 home playoff games in that as well. There is something that happened this year that is special. Whether you want to believe it or not, whether you want to accept it or not, that's the reality. This team did something that literally nobody thought that they could actually do. And they have a chance to do that again, winning on Tuesday. And then potentially again when you take on what looks like it'll be the Spurs. I believe actually it is locked in as the 2 for the Spurs now with OKC's win. So yeah, there's a lot to be excited about with that. And you need to, I think we can all take that step back now that that's sealed and go, okay, this has been extremely successful. 44 wins. You could finish with 46, depending on how you play against the Lakers and OKC in the final 2 games, which would mean you were 10 more wins than you had last season. Just the possibility that you could be 10 more wins, and really, what is that? 3 wins worse than the team 2 years ago that went to the playoffs? Like, that's something to celebrate.
That part of it is definitely absurd. And you kind of talked about how this team is going to play. Lakers on Friday, Thunder on Sunday, and Lakers are still playing for a little bit. They're jostling for position, maybe having home court advantage. The Thunder have nothing left to play for. And I think the Suns still have a lot to play for in terms of chemistry and camaraderie on the court and reincorporating people. But we saw tonight, we saw who wasn't available. We mentioned Mark Williams. Grayson Allen weren't available to begin the game. Haywood Highsmith, hopefully we see him play basketball again in April. And then you lose guys in the process. So, Eric, when you think about balancing the approach with not necessarily having any seeding to play for, how do you think this team should approach game 81 and game 82, knowing that there is something much more important laying behind there on Tuesday?
I probably have a different answer for this now than I did 2.5 hours ago. But Jalen Green and Jordan Goodwin both leaving with injuries today reminds you that nothing is promised, right? We finally got fully healthy Suns for the last, week, and it hasn't been everything we wanted it to be, but at least we had that going into the most important time. I'll be honest with you, I don't know if they just outright sit players. I'm not sure exactly what the rules on that are with the current NBA medical standards.
I'm guessing you can get away with it with everything clinched.
It probably helps it's not home games either, as well, where it's just like your expectation is for stars to play in the home games. I would try to stay as healthy as possible. I don't think that you could just sit everybody, but I think, the guys that were out tonight, play them if they're available on Friday and maybe rest Booker and or Brooks, and then Sunday, vice versa, give these guys a night off and have a very light workload, get Kobe Brea and CJ Huntley and Isaiah Livers some minutes, because 2.5 hours ago, I would have said you're not playing good enough basketball to go into the postseason feeling confident about yourself, right? Because they haven't been. But what's going to be worse is if you go into the postseason and somebody is not healthy because they landed on somebody's foot because of a reckless closeout against, I don't know, I love the guy, but Lugenstore, right, on Sunday, or a physical team in a chippy altercation. Like, you never know what's going to happen, and you got there, right? You got there. Don't go in there any more shorthanded than you might already be, since we don't know the severity of some of these injuries they've dealt with today.
Yeah, especially, I mean, we've seen it all year. It's been, oh, you accidentally step on a guy's foot as he's pulling away, and it's out for a couple weeks with an ankle injury. Like, there's no room for that right now. So I wouldn't care if they sat almost everybody in the next 2 games. If you, if you let the young guys play, if you let Colin go out there and shoot 30 times to try to find his shot again, like, at this point, to your point, Eric, I don't care after you saw the injuries tonight how many guys play the next 2.
Ultimately, it does kind of boil down to, listen, you know you're going to play one of 2 teams on Tuesday, and listen, they're going to be important reps for some guys as far as their rhythm goes on Friday and Sunday. But the prep really right now is about Portland and the Clippers. 2 teams who, listen, it's helpful to know what lies ahead for you with that, and knowing that even if you lose Tuesday, you're going to play the other one of them most likely, or potentially later in the week. That would be next Friday. So kind of get some type of practice reps maybe for some guys to keep their rhythm, but I wouldn't expect anybody to play more than 15 or 20 minutes. And I think back to what Jalen Green said last year, because he was on a Rockets team that had their seed handled, and now it's different now that he's battling injury or playing through an injury or dealing with an injury. But, he talked about how poorly he closed the season, and then that carried over into the playoffs. So I'm really curious to see, if there's some things that maybe some of the guys at the back end of the rotation get some opportunities that they can take that in to Tuesday. And then the other part of it too is, season ends on Sunday, you're going to play on Tuesday. So you really only get that Monday of real proper practice, and then you have a Tuesday shoot around and it's go time. So it's very, very intriguing to see kind of what comes of that as far as that goes with the play-in tournament. And as a bonus aside, we'll have the Lakers game, we'll be having the pregame, and we'll have our watch-along. But the Clippers play the Trailblazers on Friday night, and that's probably
the real watch.
We might need to brand the watch along
around that.
Honestly, we might need to just focus on that,
because you're going to learn who the Suns are going to play, and we do have something to break down on that Trailblazers matchup. We'll have more on the Clippers matchup coming towards you in your feed later on this week. And obviously, it's too soon to say you prefer. I think all it is about what the Suns are doing. Is there a circumstance in a timeline in which all of that, what we've seen in the past couple days and weeks, goes out the window when the postseason starts, and you're just like, oh, it happens?
I mean, it's certainly possible. I feel less confident about that happening than I did a couple of weeks ago when they initially started this slide. The good news is, like, Devin Booker's in a groove, right? We've seen Book score 30+ in a variety of different ways, free throws or no free throws, whatever it is. Dillon Brooks got back in his groove tonight. Jalen Green's been playing relatively consistent basketball for a month. Like, there are things that are lining up really well for this team to go into these high-pressure crunch time playoff scenarios. It's just like some of these role players haven't been where they need to be. Now, the good thing about this team is that I feel like mentality-wise, all of these role players are guys that in these big moments, in these playoff moments, are going to step up. Maybe it's delusion, but I just think it's confidence from seeing them do it for so long this season. Like, that doesn't just go away. This is a disappointing stretch, and it's at the wrong time. But that doesn't mean that everything that happened before didn't happen before. And we saw this literally 26 hours ago in the first quarter against the Rockets. And I get what happened afterwards is unacceptable, and that really, really sucked, and it was disappointing. But you came out and you were putting belt to ass immediately against a good team in what felt like to me a playoff-like scenario. That team is still there somewhere. They can get into that. And maybe they've just been resigned to the fact that they're the 7 seed and now these games are high end and some of these guys might pick up where they've been leaving.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at the 2 teams you might face, the Clippers and Portland, and both of them have been uneven lately too. It's not, I mean, I know the Clippers turned it around from the start of the season, but it hasn't been all rainbow, sunshine, and lollipops over the last couple of weeks either. Portland's kind of gone back. That's why these 2 teams have kind of gone back and forth in that spot. So, yeah, would you have liked them to play much better and more confident, in rolling over the last month? Yes. But you've also seen them play very tight games against very good teams and just didn't close them out. So you hope you get more of that first quarter from last night's Suns team that reminded us of who they were in January than anything else next week and going in to the playoffs. I think it's possible, but it's show it time.
I'm glad you both mentioned last night. As disappointing as the last 36 minutes of that game were, the first 12 minutes was a feeling that felt familiar, what we've seen from this team in the past. And the other thing that I'm thinking about, and I kind of mentioned it today during the game, is that, you know, this team has basically been reserved or resigned for the 7th seed for some time now. They've been in that seed since the end of November. And at a certain point, it's kind of like, man, do we just fast forward to the end of the regular season? And that's not fair. They should not have done that. But I think there's also human nature. I think that as fans, all of us are kind of like, let's get the play-in tournament going already. Well, now it's here. And now you know what lies in front of you. And this team has risen to the occasion before in the past. And I don't necessarily think it's a matter of flipping a switch or not, but we talk about last night, things went wrong because of a lack of execution, a lack of know-how, and just being outplayed by a team who had clear advantages to take advantage of your flaws. Tonight's issue was that this team felt like they were sleepwalking. You lose guys, you're playing against a team that's not playing for anything, and you're kind of going through the motions. I think that there's somewhere in the middle of like sustaining that level of effort, sustaining that high intensity that we've seen in big games from this team before. But the biggest concern and issue is doing that for all 48 minutes, because we haven't seen them do that since I couldn't tell you.
And Austin in the chat says, and they're at home, don't want to take that for granted. This team thrives off the crowd. So, and I will say, yesterday, the crowd was insane at the start. As soon as the Rockets started punching back, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't want to say it got quiet, but that sustained level of energy wasn't there. The entire first 10 minutes, it was never quiet in that arena. Obviously, because they were doing something great, but every defensive possession, the loud defense calls, like it was literal playoff basketball as far as the atmosphere goes. And then as soon as the Rockets started punching back, you just slowly saw that air get deflated. That will not happen in a play-in game.
It can't.
Well, it can't.
Fans have to step up,
and I think
in
they
that
will.
case too.
I think in that case where it's like, it's a regular season game, you're disappointed that the run is happening for this other team. You pay a lot of money to be in there for a play-in game, no matter what seat you're in, or a playoff game. Like, you know what the stakes are. I cannot imagine that it is at least that bad if the Suns get punched in the mouth on that day. And look, at the end of the day, they need to play well no matter what crowd shows up, because they're going to need to go on the road at some point. But I do have faith that the fans will have a sustained level of energy for them when the brights are the lightest.
Yeah, I mean,
the lights are
The brights are the lights, lights are the brights.
Yeah. The things you couldn't handle with the concussion.
Sorry, these lights are the brightest.
Brights are lighter.
Yeah, look, as much as we've talked about how this team, kind of maybe walk through some of this, the fans have to show up for a play-in game and treat that like the do or die situation it is too. Raise the level. Be loud. Even if this team goes through where they give up a 10-0 run and they go down by 5 or 6, the fans have to rise to the occasion too with this. And I believe they will. We've seen how crazy playoff basketball can be in Phoenix, but don't take it for granted, because we talked about, you never know when the next time you'll be there is. So own the moment, and I hope fans will do that on Tuesday and into hopefully a Spurs series.
Playoffs is also where desperation comes, and last night I did not feel like Jordan Ott was coaching desperate. Felt like he was sticking to his guns to kind of just see why these things aren't working or are working. And maybe this is cope. I feel like if that was a do or die, you lose, you go home game, I think he would have gone a little deeper in the rotation.
I still think they should have played it like that.
No, I think I agree with you, and you guys talked about that last night. I agree with that mindset, and I'm frustrated they didn't do that. Yeah. I'm telling myself, maybe to convince myself, because we don't know what kind of playoff coach Jordan Ott would be. Right. But if something if something that glaring is happening in a situation where if you lose that game, you go home, I cannot imagine that he doesn't adjust like he should have adjusted with the rotations last night. So that, again, is something to where you get into these situations, Gil. I feel like not only will the fans be more desperate as far as never letting up, but I think the coaching will be a little more desperate if your back is against the wall.
Absolutely. I know you kind of alluded to what we talked about last night, Eric, and we said, like, is Devin Booker going to play the whole fourth quarter? He did not get to 40 minutes. I fully expect if we see a close play-in tournament game 7 type situation, you're going to see the guys play 40-plus minutes, the most important guys, because if you win Tuesday, you don't play again until the weekend as the 7th seed. So that sense of desperation, the rotational desperation, maybe trying something, even if it's only for 70 seconds of whatever it is, for some type of matchup that you see, something you want to exploit, and having a quick pull if it doesn't work or a quick hook if it doesn't work, that's the thing. And the biggest thing, as you said, Espo, don't take this for granted. You did not subvert all these expectations. You did not come this far just to flame out and not have an opportunity to play in a 7-game series. And we didn't come this far to not be positive about other things, and there are plenty of other positives to take away from this game, and we will do that after another break. Listen, when I was in college, I don't know if you guys know this or not, this is a true story. Me and my best friends from high school started a business, tried to do a little clothing, and it didn't work, and I wish that we had known about Shopify back then, because maybe it might have worked out better. I might not be here right now, but it's probably for the best.
They had the internet back then?
Wow. Okay. See, back in my day. But you know what? At Shopify, that is the e-commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and responsible for 10% of all e-commerce in the United States. Shopify even powers PHNX merch. So if you want a hat like this and you go to our store, it'll be on a store powered by Shopify. It's got you covered with website creation, product descriptions, email and social media marketing, and much more. They also have AI tools designed to help you maximize sales. So if you're ready to sell, that means you're ready for Shopify. Turn your big business idea to cha-ching with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling Shopify.com/allcity. That's Shopify.com/allcity. Cha-ching.
Listen up, you old farts. Pure edibles are not just for the young of heart, okay? Those 21-year-olds that are looking for the best edible in the game that tastes good, like actual candy, and make you feel good too. They're for everybody who's interested in having a good time, even those who, maybe survive without the internet.
I want to get high, Sonny.
Look, and they have hard candies, okay?
Oh, like the Werthers?
They have hard candies like the Werthers. They have gummies, Kicks, which is their version of Starburst and Chews, and the best part is they don't taste like weed just covered in sugar. They taste like actual candy. And I said that's the best part, but there's another best part as well. All of Pure's edibles are clearly listed as to how they're going to make you feel. So if you are giving them to your grandpa and he says, I want to be relaxed, he's not going to take one that makes him hyper or makes him sleepy. He's going to be relaxed because that's what it says on the tin. That's how they blend CBN, CBG, CBD with marijuana-derived THC. So go find yourself some Pure Edibles products from over 150 dispensaries across Arizona, now including True Leaf if you're over the age of 21. And guess what? If you're over the age of 100, you could try it as well.
I'm like 21 times 4.
Hey, look, and maybe you need to relax. Maybe you're in some joint pain, and you need
to... Hey, joint pain.
Joint pain. There we go.
All right.
Oh, man. Back here at PHNX Suns post-game show, presented by Bet365. And listen, a win's a win. Never apologize for winning. And a big part of why the Suns are able to win tonight is because of the Dude of the Night, presented by Gila River Resorts and Casinos. You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit play@Gila.com. And our Dude of the Night is none other than Mr. Devin Booker. Second night in a row for Devin Booker.
Say it full.
Devin Armani Booker.
Thank you.
Because he was in Armani mode in his own way tonight. 37 points on 13 of 27 shooting in 37 minutes. 9 of 9 from the charity stripe. 9 assists, 5 boards on the night. And he, if no one else, has been in that mode. It's been a while where he's been consistently contributing and playing at the level that you're going to need him to play at in a postseason game, in a postseason series. Eric, how confident are you after what you've been seeing from him lately?
I'm very confident. I mean, he's a notorious playoff riser. He's had some of the highest peaks that we've seen from a shooting guard since 2000 in the playoffs, even though, granted, it was about like 6 to 8 games that first season with Kevin Durant there, but he was putting up literal Michael Jordan statistics. Devin Booker, we talk a lot about, okay, the role players, who's going to step up, right? Can Grayson Allen hit threes? Can Colin Gillespie hit threes? Guess what? Suns aren't doing anything in the playoffs or the play-in if Devin Booker doesn't play like he played tonight over these last couple of weeks. 37 points for him tonight, playing straight bully ball in some possessions, really hitting some tough mid-range shots. Not the greatest night from 3 for him, 2 of 6 from deep, but he still hit them and still pulled them. Also got to the free throw line 9 times as well. If the Suns are going to do anything. Yeah, they need everybody to step up. Yeah, that's been their mantra all season. Well, guess what? If Devin Booker isn't Devin Armani Booker in the playoffs or play-in, you might as well just go home. That guy is the head of the snake, and he's been playing like it recently. He's damn good, and he almost walked to 40 points, it felt like, tonight.
Yeah, I mean, he led the game in scoring, led the game in assists. Like, this is what Devin Booker can and needs to do for this team to unlock things. Like, if Devin Booker, to your point, Eric, doesn't come out here and play like that on Tuesday, there's so many other guys that have to pick up the slack. It's almost impossible to figure it out and win. So he is in that playoff mode. Hopefully everybody else rises.
When you put it that way, Espo, true or false, from not here on out, but from Tuesday on, Devin Booker needs to be the dude of the night for this team to achieve the heights that they can reach, or is that an issue that kind of becomes an indictment of other guys on the team?
It's playoff basketball. He needs to be that guy. He's your star. He's your highest paid player. He's the guy that has the shoe. Like, that's what playoff basketball is about. Those guys lifting their game to another level, taking over, and leading their team. And that's what they're going to need. And that's what he's done. Every time he's gotten in the playoffs, he has stepped up in those ways. You look at the finals run, he did it. You look at, to Eric's point, that first year with KD, Devin Booker steps up his game in the postseason, and he's got another chance now.
He's a playoff riser. Eric, do you expect him to be that guy?
I mean, he's a decade into the league. Like, you have to, right? Like, you're Devin Booker, your standard is different. It's been this entire season for him on games where maybe it'd be other people's good games, and it's just a normal game for him. Like, he gets, torn apart for it. Like, that's who you are when you're as good as Devin Booker is. And when you look at, I don't want to say teams comparable to the Phoenix Suns, but like, you look at the Pacers team last year where it was like, yeah, that's a really deep team. They're playing 11 guys in the playoffs and still going deep in their bench in the finals. Like, Tyrese Halliburton still had an incredible playoff run. They're nothing without Tyrese Halliburton. You look at the Miami Heat, who made it to the finals after being in the play-in and losing the first game of the play-in and being the 8th seed. Yeah, they were a by-committee team for sure. They had a lot of depth. Guess what? Playoff Jimmy. Right, like, Jimmy Butler was there, and Jimmy Butler was the guy who stepped up in these big moments and knocked off the Bucks in the first round and, like, delivered. Like, Devin Booker has to be that guy for the Suns to do anything when it matters the most. He can't be the only guy, but he has to be the guy. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
But when he plays like that, he's the little purple pill for this team in the playoffs. Everything rises for this team. And so
I didn't know those pills were purple.
Sometimes they need to be, I guess. Look, that's the name of the game. Devin Booker has to show up, and then hopefully everybody else rises to the occasion.
I think the purple ones are the city edition ones.
They are.
That's all.
Just like the court, it says City Edition right on the pill.
There you go. There it is. Well, I mean, I was going to say that when
What's your record in those pills versus the associations?
I gotta tell you, a lot better than the white pills. All right.
That lends itself perfectly to what I was going to say about Devin Booker leading by example. It doesn't lend itself perfectly to that, but I was just going to say because you heard
more the mountain than the valley. But anyways, continue.
Yeah, you heard Jalen Green talk about kind of being. Devin Booker being in guys' ears saying, hey, look, let's get it together. It's playoff time. Let's get it together. It's playoff time.
I told you, I slept 4 hours last night.
And you did say the wall. Here it is.
Is there a pill for that? Get some help with that?
Maybe so.
I don't need help falling asleep. I just need more hours to do it. Anyways, I'll shut up. Continue, Gail.
But I was going to say we saw him kind of elevate the level of play of a guy who made his first career start. And he is our blue-collar boy of the night, and that is Mr. Khaman, Maluach. And in this game, he had 4 points, but pulled down 14 rebounds, a new career high for him. All over the place, also played 30 minutes in the game and was very impactful. And, we might as well go straight to it. He also gave us our Love the Play, which is brought to you by our friends at Arizona Lottery. Play and gift today. Who cares about college allegiances when it's time to protect the rim?
To hell with friendship. To hell with where you went to college. To hell with niceties.
Say that again. To hell with where they went to college.
Where you went to college. Whether it's NC State, it's Duke. If it ain't Wake Forest, it don't matter. That's what we're trying to say.
That's what I'm saying.
But look, I mean, that was a nasty block because Cooper went in there. Cooper Flagg went in there with some bad intentions, and Khaman Maluach went up two-handed and said, "I'm sending both you and this ball to the floor, and I'm going to flex on your ass after I do it. This is Mr. Nice. This is a guy that everybody seems to love. He and Cooper Flagg are buddy. In between the lines, he does not give a crap. He owned his friend.
Khaman Maluach, that's not just maybe the play of the game. That's one of the highlights of the season. I mean, the move that Cooper Flagg did to get there as well was incredible. The spin move to go up for a poster. How many guys in the league can even do that? Genuinely.
Not very many.
I mean, obviously, Khaman's familiar with him. He's seen him do that over and over and over again, right? Probably in practice and so on and so forth. But it wasn't just the play itself, it was the timing of it. It was a one-possession game. If that dunk goes down, that's complete momentum shifted towards the Mavericks, and Cooper Flagg's maybe feeling himself a little more, and maybe he does close the game because he's not 4 of 18 from the field. You know, he's 3 of 3 in his last 3 minutes, right? Khaman stepped up, was able to completely change the game with that block. His rebounding was immaculate tonight. He wasn't an offensive force, and he wasn't perfect, but he's exactly what you needed him to be. 3 blocks for him, 1 at the biggest moment, which it also led to an easy 2 points on the other end as well with Dillon Brooks. So like that was, to me, the reason why so many people are begging for Khaman Maluach to play in games like last night, because while he's not perfect, he's getting better, and being better means he's making plays like that, which I love Mark and I love Oso. He's the only guy on the court for either team that could have made that play tonight, and he made it.
Yeah, he's the sentinel. He was standing watch, and he took care of business protecting that rim, and that's what you want from him. You ask pregame, what do I need to see from him? Rebound, protect the rim. He did it, and did it in a big way tonight, and it's going to make you think twice if you're starting to have problems in either of those areas come the playoffs.
That's a massive building block when you mention the postseason, what potentially lies ahead. It could be Donovan Clingan. It could be Brook Lopez. It could be Victor Wembanyama, Luke Cornett and company. It could be Isaiah Hartenstein and Jalen Williams. All options are on the table, but knowing that you can trust him, even if it's just spot minutes, that's going to be really important. I think he did show a lot, and we'll probably see him play a lot in these last 2 games. And again, it's just really important to know that, considering what lies ahead. What lies ahead for us is, of course, a appearance from SPG, who has his takes from the Morg. We will have that for you after our final break of the night. All right, so I'm gearing up for my first summer here, and I've already dealt with 105-degree weather in March because thankfully I had a record hot March for my first spring here, but I'm going to test the theory that you gave me, Eric, and that's that sometimes when you wear sunglasses, it doesn't feel as hot out. So we'll see how that works when I'm trying to get
1 or 2 degree cooler, but it helps.
I'll take that. Every degree matters, and I'm going to go to Shady Rays when I'm looking to do that. And my concern with that is that I'm a little bit of a forgetful person. I forget stuff at the office all the time, and sometimes I might forget things elsewhere, but Shady Rays will have me covered with that. Sunglasses are made for real life. They look good. They're polarized, durable, and they don't cost that much either. You're not going to break the bank. And if you lose or break them even on the day you get them, Shady Rays is going to send you a brand new pair. No questions, just a replacement. So
call them the Mrs. Espo guarantee.
So I'm going to be able to wear these Shady Rays sunglasses without any issue and feel 1 to 2 degrees cooler thanks to the theory that my guy Eric gives me. And you can do it yourself. So head to shadyrays.com and use the code PHNXSR for 40% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses.
Hey, Gil, I don't know if you know this. It's going to get hot this summer. I don't know if we've said it all on this program, but look, when it's hot, a lot of things can get worse. But it's not just the temperatures that get higher. It's your bill that a lot of the time gets higher as well. That's why our friends over at APS, they say, look, we got a lot of different ways for you to save money. And whatever choice you make, well, it's the right one for you. Like rate plan options. If you choose that one, you can look back at your spending over the last couple of months and compare what you would have spent depending on what plan you are. Now, maybe you're already on the plan that saves you the most money. Then you're good. You're doing it right. Maybe you're spending 30, 40, 50 extra dollars a month when you could be on a different plan that saves you that money. That's what rate plan options will tell you with our friends over at APS, or budget billing, which averages out your payment about the same every month over the year. So it's easier to budget and it's easier to save. So for budget billing, rate plan options, and other options for managing your bill, head on over to aps.com/let's talk. That's aps.com/let's talk.
Did you know SPG tried to cancel me in the chat? During that,
what?
He's sitting there behind the scenes and jumped in the chat to say Espo is canceled, and now he's giving me the thumbs down.
Dare I say Espo's uncancelable?
Please don't say that. don't lay a talent down.
That's right. Everything I say doesn't come true.
Don't test fate. That's the perfect time to bring in our guy SPG here with this post-mortem from the Morg. Steven, you're shaking your head so much as we saw you kind of on the back end of things and what we had to say. Were you shaking your head at the Suns' performance tonight to barely hold off the Mavericks team? Because I'm sure you have some positive that you'll take away from this performance.
No, I was shaking my head at Mr. Gregory Esposito there.
Oh, you went full name.
Government's crazy.
Lewis is my middle name if you want to go there too.
Gregory Lewis Esposito. Yeah, Mr. All Purple right now. That joke was so unnecessary. You did not have to press that button, sir.
Call me the big purple pill. All
you
right?
at least like the city edition part though, right?
No, because you didn't need to add on to that. You give that its own thing, and you keep it pushing.
One side says city edition, the other side says the valley. I mean, there you go.
He said he warned us he's going to hit a wall. But anyway,
I wish I had a block button I could press right now. I would
just mute him. Initially, cut his mic. That being said, Steven, you saw a lot happen tonight. We saw Khaman Maluach make his first career start. Initial thoughts and takeaways from the Suns' 5-point win over the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah, for man, I think this was a good step in the right direction. 30 minutes even. There was like maybe a 12 to 14, maybe more minute stretch in the second half, third quarter going into the fourth, where he was just on the court. I think also prior to like maybe the 3-minute mark of the fourth quarter, I played like 8 minutes. That means that was a lot of man because there was no small ball. And obviously Mark was out. So for him to be able to be in the condition to play 30 full minutes for the team, and then also compile the 3 blocks, which I'm sure y'all talked about. My favorite stat for him tonight, only had 2 fouls. 30 minutes, 2 fouls. Best ability is your availability. Usually people say that when it pertains to injuries, but foul trouble is no different. What good can you be of service to your team if you're just not on the court? And him being able to provide the rim protection, the rim deterrence, and all the good stuff that he did around the rim, while also doing well kind of guarding out on the perimeter at times too. You don't get that if he's not in good standing in terms of fouls. And I think he did a really good job of kind of understanding the mistakes that he did make, because there were a handful, but quickly readjusting within the next possession or two and not allowing for one mistake to turn into 3 to 4 to 6, which allowed for him to ultimately play the game the way he did tonight.
Steven, we saw Dillon Brooks have his best game since returning from injury, 28 points, 50% from the field, 4 of 5 from deep. And I think it's interesting that it happened almost simultaneously with Jalen Green exiting the game with injury. I think some Suns fans might draw a conclusion that one equals the other. Jalen Green's out, and now all of a sudden Dillon Brooks is back to his old ways. Do you feel like there's, any, synergy with the idea of maybe it's easier for Dillon Brooks to be in that mode when Jalen isn't on the court, or is it just a coincidence that he happened to turn it up during that time?
I don't want to come across as a smart aleck with this response. That's truly, truly not my intent. But Devin and Dillon have played how many more minutes and spent how much more time on the court together than all 3 together or any other iteration of those 3 players? Like, of course, he's going to feel more comfortable. It's going to feel a whole lot more akin to what he's used to, just because of how the season is kind of shaking out for them in terms of the injury bug. So, yeah, naturally, Jalen's out for an extended stretch over the course of this game, which he was real questionable by the staff in terms of his potential return to the game at halftime. Obviously, he didn't return, but I think questionable is a good sign that it's not something that is maybe longer term than they can afford to have at this point of the season. But, yeah, Dillon is going to play better if Jalen's not on the court. That's one less thing he has to think about in terms of when to press the button to go for his own shot versus when to move it and let somebody else potentially cook, or just have the ball in their hands to get a little bit of rhythm. So, yeah, naturally, you take away one high-usage player from the rotation, he's going to feel a lot more comfortable.
What did Jordan Ott have to say after the game in terms of tonight's performance, and then also now realizing that they've locked up the 7th seed. Anything interesting that came from that?
Yeah, he was happy for the effort to just get this done. It's hard to win games late in the season. He was also happy to see Khaman do what he did with the minutes that he was extended today. How that kind of enabled him to maybe unintentionally or indirectly, but just be able to give also kind of a little bit of a break. Oso's been one of the highest volume players on the team this season, especially over the last handful of weeks. So any bit of time where he can buy somebody some rest in some capacity, I think he's chomping at the bit to extend that to, in particular, Royce O'Neal, Oso Ighodaro, and Colin Gillespie, the 3 most healthy players this season.
Did we get any updates on what's going on with Jalen Green and or Jordan Goodwin post game?
Yeah, with Goody, we heard that they are going to take a look at things. Just kind of got banged up, which naturally he's done multiple times over the course of this season with his blue collar, rough and rugged nature of play. So nothing concrete given in terms of status, of course, because the game just ended. But I don't think they believe it's anything that's going to be long term. But I think that being able to have stamped that kind of 7th seed allows for them to find some more creative ways to, if not outright rest guys, find some pockets to maybe scale back the minutes for certain players, just so that they're able to keep a little bit of game rhythm, but also be able to kind of charge the batteries a little bit before come this time Tuesday next week.
Steven, let me get in my bag here real quick, if you don't mind.
He's going to talk Ryan Dunn.
Steven, Ryan Dunn.
Yeah, Ryan had himself a game. These are, as an athlete, the one thing you can ever ask for is just opportunity. I feel like we can say the same for Khaman in tonight's game, but specific to Ryan, which the question was, he got an opportunity and he did pretty much as you could ask for from him within that. Had some good moments in terms of just cutting and being functional on the offensive side. Defensively, he had some moments with Cooper Flagg. He had some just solid minutes in general on the court tonight. Now you just want to see him sustain it. I think that's probably the one thing that's gotten in the way of him keeping that starting spot if we go all the way back to the beginning of the season. If he's able to kind of compile these consistent moments where he's doing these things, checking off these boxes on task, there's no reason to even have to take him out of the starting lineup to begin with. So I got another good step in the right direction for him, but you just want to see the consistency stay there for him because he can play. Contrary to some of the conversations and whatnot that we've seen over the last 2 years, he can play.
There was a lot of talk about the rotation. Do you think anybody maybe helped themselves that things might get extended next week, that we see some other guys more than 9 play?
Nah, not off of one game. Not off of one game and not against this iteration of the Mavericks. Like if Najee Marshall and Daniel Gafford and Klay Thompson and like all of these other guys that they've had for a majority of the season played, and you were doing it against some of those quality types of guys, that might swing things a little different in terms of the lens that this game is being assessed from. And I don't want to take away from the positivity, but I also don't want to leap too far ahead and say, oh, yeah, somebody's got to be in the rotation based off of what they did tonight.
Steven, you got a number for us tonight? I need to feel a little bit smarter, and I thought you might be able to provide that.
Appreciate that. Yes, I do have a number for tonight. Number for tonight's game is 53. That is the number of and ones that Devin Booker has drawn and converted on over the course of this season. Now, he's done that while missing quite a few games, which just speaks to the rash and volume of him getting downhill, the intent behind him getting downhill, and his ability to execute when he's doing so. Playing through all types of help, hand help, body help, contact, intentional fouls, just playing through it all and finishing through that contact. And I think that finishing through it is very important because he's getting to the line, that's one thing. If it's coming off of an and one and it's keeping their defense set because you know he's knocking down the free throw at a close to 90% clip, that's all really, really, really good business. And it speaks to the balance and mindset. I feel like at times, and this is not a knock against him, but at times he can get very comfortable with the midi because that is a version of layup for him with the efficiency that he knocks it down with. But when he's blending in, I'm turning the corner against this hedge to get downhill, and now I'm putting pressure on your defense and getting to the free throw line and one. And then the next possession, you're worried about me here. So now I'm going to get to the midi pull-up, and then a couple of possessions later, now it's a pull-up three. Like, that's the blend. He's that type of tier of scorer to where he doesn't have to lean into one specific kind of entity of his bag. And when he's got it all blended together, like we saw tonight and a handful of nights prior to tonight, it's a bad man. That's a bad man, and that's exactly who the Suns need him to be as they start to get closer to postseason play, because the best guys are getting to the free. They're 4-level scorers. It's not just 3 levels, not just 2. They're getting all 4, including that free throw line, mixed into their scoring bag.
Do you know where that ranks as far as and one goes in the NBA? Maybe
not off the top of my head. I imagine it's probably like top 16, top 15, maybe higher than that. But there's some guys, especially bigs, that play through a lot of contact that just inflates the volume of attempts they have there. But for guards, he's definitely amongst the elite with that, and he's within 2 of tying his career high from his sophomore season of 55. Obviously, he gets a 3 and he breaks that, sets a new record for himself.
Yeah, I was definitely going to say it probably ranks highly among guards. SPG, any final thoughts from a 5-point win for the Phoenix Suns over an interesting iteration of the Dallas Mavericks tonight?
Yeah, celebrate the young guys. I think just them having an opportunity, and with each of those guys, Ryan Dunn included, you can look at this season, even if it hasn't necessarily gone the way that a lot may have expected it to for them individually. You can look back at the beginning of the season and say that guys have made marginal incremental growth. And for a team that has kind of maybe had their barometer or ceiling for this season raised over the course of it, as their level of play has, to be able to also string guys along in terms of their development says a lot about the direction that they're headed. They have their ducks in a row in terms of their process with that. And I think on the other side of it, going into next season and beyond, is an expedited version of what this team can be with the new pieces that they add while continuing to develop these guys that they already have in-house organically.
Well, SPG, we always appreciate your positivity and your insight, because we get smarter, and hopefully everyone here listening gets smarter as well. We will catch you back here Friday for a game. And if you want to follow Steven, that is Steven with a PH, PG3, wherever you can find him. And we will catch you later in the week. Appreciate you, man.
See y'all on Friday. Big game coming.
Big one.
Big one.
Big one.
Can I address the chat for a second?
Absolutely.
Because, well, Eric gets in his bag when it's a little Ryan Dunn talk. You guys have made me so happy talking 90s East Valley malls. I cannot, that is like
Give me
my
like a comp, like a Suns player currently on the roster that reminds you of a staple of the 90s East Valley
look,
malls.
the Fiesta Mall in Mesa was the AC Green of malls. Dependable. I never scored there. It was just, it was a spectacular place.
And now it's non-existent.
It's non-existent. So I cannot tell you how happy, it's irrationally happy this chat made me, because that is like, it's Suns and then it's East Valley malls in terms of weird obsessions I had growing up that remain. And I'm pretty sure Matthew Dykeman in the chat, he and I must have lived pretty damn close to each other based on some of the things he said in the chat tonight. Fiesta was my jam. My wife used to work there when we were in high school. I'd go visit her there. Had one of the coolest Phoenix Suns and Diamondbacks team shops, and it's now rubble. There's nothing.
Hey.
What happened to malls, man? What happened to malls?
Honestly, Fiesta Mall does sound like a pretty fireball. Speaking of chat, we'll get to your super chats here in a second, but not before we talk about how our pregame picks turned out. And spoiler alert, they did not turn out very well. Presented by Bet365, where winning is everything except for us for tonight, because we all lost. I am barely hanging on. I need to just go for a softball on Friday to stay in the green. Yeah, for sure. I like how you have a clean round number, though, Espo.
I'm going to keep it like that, too. Don't you worry.
How do you get a clean round number? You cooking the
one,
books over there?
One way or the other, it's going to stay that way. I'll tell you that much.
I'm going to be negative 250. You're going to love it.
I'm hitting a bet. I want you guys to know I'm going to hit a bet before the end of the season. I don't know how big of a bet it's going to be, but I'm going to hit a bet.
Call your shot.
I'm calling my shot right now. I'm winning this thing.
Hey, I'm tanking for next season. I want a good draft pick.
You can, just like an Otto, huh?
Yeah, I'm tanking.
Oh, man.
Alltech says, Eric, yikes. Yeah, man, I know. Okay, I know. Hey, I used my powers for good today, though. I bet on three things today. I bet Mavs money line.
Didn't
Didn't happen. I bet Cooper Flagg 20 plus
Didn't
points.
happen.
And then I bet Jalen Green over half a block.
Didn't happen.
That also didn't happen. So I can't. So I own the only reason why I included any Suns players because I had no other Mavericks in Bet365 at the time when I was putting the bet. So I was like, I'll just do this in here. Then Jalen got injured, so I have to keep on only betting on opposing teams and just helping the Suns. Especially, are we gonna do this in the play-in playoffs? This is
I think we restart.
That is a great. You know what? Let me dap you up. That is a great idea.
I just feel like
Harrison's not happy about that. Harrison's not happy about that.
You win the regular season. Maybe we spice it up a little bit in the way we can only
head-to-head betting. Like I go against Gil, you and Eric go up against each other. It's like
or maybe the person that wins gets to pick his bet first, and then you can't use any of the players that guy uses, and we
be a
spice
playoffs version of the bets. I think we got a couple watch-alongs before we get there. I think that
we have a lot of time during these next 2 days.
Kobe Bryant hits a 3. Now, are we allowed to take the same player but a different statistical category?
It'd be fun, like a head-to-head type deal. Of like we get like some players, and then like you have to take the over, I have to take the under, vice versa, that type of thing. Because then we're cheering for the opposite things. That type of deal could be interesting. Maybe I don't know.
I'm all in now.
If we're trying to find, we're cooking here, folks. If we're trying to find ways to make maybe that final watch along or the final 2 watch alongs maybe mean something. What if we did like a draft where you got to draft the players that you got to put on your slip for the play-in game? So Gil gets the first pick.
I like
right, and then Eric gets the second.
I'm winning this.
Yeah, and then well, here's the thing: is it would happen before the end of the regular because we do it during a watch along, right? Or we can make it like members only content or something like that. But I feel like being able to draft based off of the order. And not a snake draft, because then that would benefit me. I think at 4, I think a fixed draft 1 through 4.
It should be fixed.
And then we can do that 3 rounds, and then we get 3-leg parlays. It all starts from 0. It all starts from 0, but we get 3-leg parlays for each playoff game.
You know what sounds like a great way to do that? On Sunday, while we're at our watch party at Wild Horse Pass. When we're down there, that game, nobody's playing in that game for either team. So, that sounds
like. What if I hit a $400 bet and move to 0?
and I go to -6, and it's like, dang, you beat me off. That could happen. That could happen.
By the way, I love this chat. They're now talking about an old fun park named Fiddlesticks that was in Tempe that I used to go to. You guys are amazing tonight. This is fantastic.
Elite.
Fantastic. Even
no free ads
in there.
No free ads.
It doesn't exist anymore.
Fiddlesticks.
They closed that joint a long time.
You close it down, I'm sure you should.
Oh, yes. For insurance money.
Fiddlesticks is how Monty Williams used to curse at his team.
Yeah, Fiddlesticks.
Fiddlesticks, Jen, you're not listening to me.
You're too happy on the Garstorn farm. Should we do these super chats to get the hell out of here?
And on that note, I will say we have a $2 super chat from Matthew. Appreciate you, Matthew. At least the KD stands aren't here tonight. Smile. I'm smiling.
Amen.
They brought an interesting energy to the chat last night. I'll say that much, but that is to be expected.
No, the KD stands?
It was wild.
No.
Well,
who would have thought?
His
stands were the real reason why everybody wanted him gone in the first place, if you remember.
I'm just sitting on my throne here.
Just lying.
That's all I'm doing.
Your throne of lies.
Oh, man. The $4.99 super chat from Terrence Tidbits. Appreciate you, Terrence. Suns have a 111.3 defensive rating with Maluach is on the court, which would be a top 4 rating in the league. Play the kid and allow him to grow. I think that's a great point, but I also think we're seeing the seeds being planted, and I think that we will be having this conversation about the team being a top 4, top 6, top 8 defense with him anchoring it in due time. He's only 19 years old, and I think he is starting to grow.
Yeah, no, I agree wholeheartedly, and I think it's going to make your decision surrounding Mark that much harder come this offseason.
Or easier, right? Because you can do what you need to do negotiating with Mark and know that we've got the Khaman Maluach card to play at the end of the day, and that might just be the best card to play. And that's kind of like everything's really important right now, the play in the playoffs this season. It's a little worrying how they're playing and all of that. As soon as this season is over, I am full on in on the summer of Khaman Maluach and Rasheer Fleming. Like, going into next season, I can't imagine that we're going to be having any of these conversations that we're having right now again. So that's a little hopium for everybody to hold on to in case this next week doesn't go the way that it needs to go.
But let's just hope that it does go the way that it needs to go. We have no show tomorrow, but we do have some bonus content previewing a potential play-in tournament matchup with the LA Clippers. So lock in. We already have our Trailblazers preview going. So if you want to learn up more about what the Trailblazers have going for them, you can check that out. And then tomorrow you can check our Clippers content. And you can check it all out by subscribing to us on the channel. We'll get it right to you as soon as it drops. And we'll be back here with you on Friday for the Lakers game. I don't care who's available for the Lakers or Suns. It's always the Lakers. I'm not going to say it.
And we're available. You can say it.
We'll be available.
I don't know. Maybe we'll let Ayrton host and we'll take the night off.
Fire me up. I'll tell you what. One night and one night only. I'll get back behind the computer. Charles' wet dream in the chat, and Ayrton will be over here, and he can be on the mic.
By the way, one last one for the chat. The Fiddlesticks, you're talking about NBA Jam. I found a way to rig that machine at Fiddlesticks where I could play it without having to pay. That was always
Espo had the quarter on the string.
So technically, I shut Fiddlesticks.
Yeah, you did. That was maybe the most 90s kid phrase that has been uttered tonight. And I think that is the perfect note to wrap it up as we get out of here. Make sure to follow the Freckle Mama who makes this thing happen at Freckle Mama. You can follow Espo at Espo and catch him on Southwest Bias in the morning. You can follow Eric Ruby at ERIKRUBY. You can follow me at Gil McGregor with an underscore. You can follow the show at PHNX_Suns. We will catch you back here Friday as you get prepared for whoever suits up for the Suns and whoever suits up for the Lakers. And we will see you then.
We all silly like the mayor.